Hello and welcome to the video about ugly people. We get to film this while my cat steals my chicken, and he definitely believes that he is being very sneaky right now. Unfortunately, he is quite loud. Welcome back to this series where I try to explain Vampire the Masquerade clans to people that perhaps have never played Vampire the Masquerade. Clans are a bit like classes, and Nosferatu is the deformed one. If I was to sum up Nosferatu's lore, we would start from a very, very, very pretty guy getting embraced by a vampire that's only like one vampire removed from like the head vampire. So he was very beautiful. He was a great hunter. He got embraced for that. And during the embrace, they accidentally scratched him a little bit. And because when you get killed and turned into a vampire, which is called an embrace, you get stuck with whatever kind of physical condition normally that you were at when you died. That guy now had a permanent scar on his cheek. He was so angry about that and so self-conscious about that and hated that so much, believing that he looks very ugly now, that he ate the vampire that made him into a vampire. And in return, he got cursed to only have ugly vampires and to be ugly himself. Do I think that that guy's appearance haven't actually changed? He just already believed that he was ugly for having that one scratch on his face. Over time, he ended up having quite a few vampires of his own, and one of them wasn't really happy with his rule, so she kind of ran away. And he was very upset about that, so everybody else was sent after her to hunt her down. And that part of the Nosferatu clan, the hunters, they're called the Niktuku. So from the very beginning of the Nosferatu clan, because it was started by this woman that just ran away, they were kind of already on the run. And it doesn't help that they be ugly, y'all. Like, really hideously deformed. While other people, they, like, die and then they get resurrected as a vampire and it's all fine, cheeky-breeky. Nosferatus tend to, like, spend weeks very painfully mutating. You can go bald, your skin can go, like, thin and crackly, you can grow tumors, you can grow growths. And through that process, a lot of them become brain damaged to a point where they can't function, or their mutation is otherwise incompatible with being a vampire. Like, you suddenly get a snout for your face and you can't actually drink blood because there's no opening and such. They tend to put those vampires down, but it's quite the trial, just like becoming a Nosferatu. That is kind of what I mean. So what are the defining features of a Nosferatu besides just being ugly? Well, you get abilities like animalism, which is you can talk to animals, you can grow claws, you can become into an animal. Obfuscate, which is you can go invisible. And potence, which is you punch hard. A lot of Nosferatus are primarily very physical beings, and also they tend to be smart. They need to be smart to survive, considering that they're considered to be like the absolute bottom rung of the society. They don't really benefit from social skills or appearance all that much. In fact, their appearance can't really be raised above 0. I think that's a V20 thing, but in V5, they can't like take the pretty merit and they're stuck with like the ugly things. So it's kind of the same thing that didn't really change. V20 and V5, by the way, are the most played Vampire the Masquerade editions. V20 is the older one, V5 is the newer one. I tend to speak about both in these videos. There are probably still people that play V1, V2, or V3, but those people, there are very small amounts of people, so we don't talk about those. We pretend that they don't exist. We just focus on V20 and V5. If you play those 3 editions, you're a very cool person. You're probably too cool to be here. Just saying. Now, just the fact that Nosferatu are this badly disadvantaged, they're hunted by their own clan, they're ugly, they can't really be seen by people without causing a lot of fear. Well, in modern knights in V5, they can. It's not a masquerade violation to see a Nosferatu because their deformities got kind of reduced and put it more on a down low. You would see them as like a very ugly person, like a burn victim or a cancer patient or other person that has like a disease of like growths growing all over them. So it's not necessarily that they betray their vampiric nature, but earlier than 21st century, seeing something like that was scary, yo. So they kind of had problems with any kind of society thing whatsoever. They ended up being very smart, ingenious, good at engineering. During medieval ages, they were apparently really religious and into Christianity a lot, mostly because, it was a thing that stressed piety and repenting for your sins rather than beauty. But in a lot of periods of time in history, the beauty bit kind of got super stressed, especially in like Victorian era, where beauty was compared to godliness and goodness. In that case, Nosferatu's practically had to disappear from the face of the earth for a while. That's just a really bad card to be dealt in life. So they had to be smart. They had to be smart, they had to know how to survive, they had to know how to build and how to hide. The very earliest versions of Nosferatu apparently lived in caves until catacombs became a thing, then they lived in catacombs. Eventually, they ended up living in sewer systems, abandoned tenements. Sometimes, if there was like a criminal part of the city and regular people wouldn't like be visiting there and authorities wouldn't like go there and be hands off that place, Nosferatus would take it as theirs and build it up, reinforce it. Because for one thing, the whole Niktuku is haunting you, which is like part of your clan. That thing was like a constant thing, and it still is into modern knights. They are always facing danger, and they're ugly. To put on top of that, it's just a really bad place to be. You have to get good at life fast when life be coming at you like that. So they did. A lot of them have found their niche as information brokers, as spies. They will openly deal with all other vampires. They will sell them information, and sometimes they will even double sell information. The only thing that a Nosferatu is loyal to is really other Nosferatu. As such, Nosferatu are kinda quote unquote aligned with the Camarilla sect. And for those that are new in here, that have not watched a video like this before, there are already 2 others made before this about Bruja and Gangrel. Camarilla is like the structured vampire community where you have a prince, he has his own like subordinates, he reports to people that are higher up to him, he controls what you have to pay to live in his city, he controls if you can make another vampire or not. It's a structured societal thing. So Nosferatu are a clan that quote unquote are just aligned with this sect. but it's loose because Nosferatu can be in all the sects. They can be an anarch, which is the, screw the system people, or the Sabbat, which are the very openly vampiric vampires that also like to do pretty heinous shit, like build bone cathedrals, which is kind of cool, to be fair. They organize their own structure through religion rather than a figure of authority. So they would have priests instead of having princes. And they like to hunt older vampires because, for one thing, there is a true fear that the eldest vampires will wake up and eat them all. So they would rather eat them before that happens and absorb their power. Effectively, that's it. Well, and they're very unapologetically a vampire, so they're okay with being exposed to the mortals. They want to control mortals. They see them as nothing more than cattle, and other sects highly disagree. Other sects try to keep the masquerade going and not be a direct target for hunters. So Nosferatu are kind of aligned with the Camarilla question mark. But really, Nosferatu are only ever loyal to other Nosferatu. So you'll find Sabbat Nosferatu, you'll find Anarch Nosferatu. At any point, they can flip off the side, and they will all be sharing information together because they're in this boat together. This is a clan that lives the most communally from all other clans because safety in numbers. And they will always be fortifying, they will always be building defenses, mostly underground, in sewers and bunkers. They have quite a few clan mates that are not officially known to any sect. They're just there scouring under your floorboards. Mainly because you can just get employed inside the Nosferatu clan and just be like, hey, this is Bill, he digs new tunnels, or this is Josh, he makes sure that we are safe and checks all the defenses, or this is, I don't know, Tommy, he hacks other systems, makes sure that there's no information about us online, and keeps tabs on people. There are all sorts of jobs that Nosferatus tend to do for other Nosferatus and for the sake of their own communal living. So not all of them need to be in the outside world. Not all of them need to be familiar to the outside world, which is kind of cool, actually. So where have we left off? Oh yes, about the whole spy thing. Please, cat, if you want to play in silence. He got fed. He's very happy. Anyway, because of the whole, spying and selling information thing, which Nosferatus tend to specialize in and be very proud about, when the whole internet thing came out, they kind of made the second internet, which was for vampires only, and for sharing information on vampires. And that was cool. It worked for a while, until the hunters kind of got into it. And then a lot of the blame fell onto the Nosferatus because they were running it to begin with. And then they had to rip out all of that system and effectively burn it before anyone got too much information on their hands. So that happened. That's one of the things that the clan is famous for. Another thing that they're famous for is Baba Yaga. Baba Yaga is considered a Nosferatu in Vampire the Masquerade. And quite interestingly, she overthrew former Soviet Union in 1990s. So if you didn't know, in this world, the Soviet Union happened when Bruja, another clan, which we already talked about, overthrew Ventru, which was the ruling party of Russia, which we haven't talked about yet because we haven't talked about Ventru yet, and established like a communal rule over Russia and later on other parts of the Soviet Union. And then Baba Yaga just kind of made them all. She made the giant wall around the whole territory, 1990s, where no vampires could go in and no vampires could go out magically. It really freaked everybody out. She took control of that territory. And then she got murdered by the Niktuku, which just proves how much of a danger the Niktuku are for other Nosferatu that are not the Niktuku. Yay! Which freaked all the Nosferatu out. It's part of the reason why apparently quite a few Nosferatu join the Sabbat, despite the fact that Sabbat are very vicious and not very nice vampires. Because the whole constant threat of Niktuku and their clan leader, it's not a thing that they enjoy. So the prospect of destroying the clan leader and the Niktuku is a good thing for the rest of the Nosferatu. So some of them like take that job up. Now, V5 edition in specifically has these things called compulsions, which is kind of what happens when you botch a roll. Your character just gets a trait that's associated with their clan. And for a Nosferatu, their compulsion is uncover a secret, uncover information, right there and then. When I was playing with them, there was more than one time when I decided that the information that I need to uncover is something really ridiculous, like figuring out if the person in the scene has genital warts, just because I really needed to know. So there's ways to play that. That's a lot less serious. You do get a bit constrained if you're selecting Nosferatu to play as your class, mainly because of the whole hideous thing and being looked down upon. Like, some of the other clans outright hate you, especially the pretty clan, the Toreadors. They can't stand you for being ugly. As such, no matter like who you were in life before you became a Nosferatu, before your character became a Nosferatu, you're kind of gonna be boxed in by just your physical appearance alone. So you can't really roleplay a model. You can roleplay a former model, but at the moment, there's nothing that you can model anymore. Roleplaying any kind of public-facing figure, even if you were a doctor, would be kind of difficult because the sudden change of appearance would definitely raise a lot of questions. As such, a lot of Nosferatu specialize in what Nosferatu specialize, which is espionage, spying, information gathering. Tech bros fit very well with being a Nosferatu. And in V5, now that Bruja and Gangrel have defected from the Camarilla, if you want to play inside Camarilla, law enforcers make for good Nosferatu because Nosferatu are set up to be fairly strong. They have potence, they have the punchy punch. Which means that being the person that ensures that your sect is safe in the area and there aren't any vampires up to no good, that fits very well with playing a Nosferatu, as they're strong. And a lot of other strong factions have defected. So that position is open now. There are two kinds of people that tend to become a Nosferatu. It is the people that are really downtrodden and down low. So homeless people, people with severe mental health issues, people with severe physical issues, disabled people, they're already at the bottom of the society. And the fact that this death deforms you doesn't quite hurt them as much. A lot of Nosferatus will have a fairly good friendship and kinship with people that are down low because they see themselves as also being part of down low. So it's not unheard of for Nosferatus to quietly be donating to orphanages and places like that. It's just that they will never tell anybody about it or boast about it. They will have friends inside the downtrodden, the homeless, and other people that have very little options in life. And sometimes they will embrace based on pity of even becoming a Nosferatu will be a step up for this person and I really like them. And that's how they will make new Nosferatu. The other type of embrace is also very popular, is the hate embrace, where somebody is very vain. Perhaps they're an actor, perhaps they're a model, someone that uses their looks a lot, social media personality, the kind of person that can't imagine anything happening to their appearance, that is obsessed with appearance and judges others based on appearance. They see it as like cruel punishment or a judgment to do so, and they will do so. It will break quite a few people. Those that don't break, they're allowed to assimilate into the regular Nosferatu populace. There isn't an ongoing hatred of them because it's like a one-time thing that they inflict on another person, and they're like, well, now you're in the same boats as us. How does that feel? Anyway, this is a very bad boat, as in we're constantly being hunted by our own clan, and other clans don't have the best relationship with us, especially clans that are pretty and judge based on appearance. So, for your own survival, you'll have to stick with us. And we'll have to stick with you. That's another way how some people become a Nosferatu. I don't think that there is anything else to say about them. They don't really have any bloodlines or offshoots, and the sect variety for Nosferatus, it doesn't matter. Like a Sabbat Nosferatu, an Anarch Nosferatu, and a Camarilla Nosferatu, they will all just work together. It's clan above sect. And they live together. And they protect themselves together. And they exchange information. It's a hardy clan. It is a strong clan with some strong abilities, and there is some fun roleplay opportunities there, but it will be so heavily influenced by the class that you have selected. If we take it as like a class, this is a very restrictive class, just because of all the issues that come with it. Like, you get boxed into the Nosferatu. It's very hard to unbox yourself. Like, I do have a Nosferatu that I play as if I am pretty, even though my look stat is like 0. My character has decided to really hold on to that vanity thing because she was a photographer's muse and she was pretty. And then she got embraced. She, instead of despairing, she was gonna be like, I'm gonna prove to you that this is beauty too. That I am beautiful, because beauty is subjective. She will try to seduce people. She will wear a lot of cleavage, despite looking really monstrous. So you can play it like that, but in the end of the day, she's still a lot more boxed into the Nosferatu box than she would be if I was playing a bruja or even a gangrel, hiding a couple of animalistic features, bit easier than having your appearance stat be 0 permanently, and some clans hate you based on that, and you're seen as being part of the lowest rung of the society. And some of your own clanmates are hunting you. Thumbs up. Welcome to being a Nosferatu. Apparently, though, they do have their own unique culture and arts. Art made from pipes and metal is apparently highly regarded, or at least there's one highly regarded art that is a giant statue made from pipes and metal. They love gardening. It is not uncommon for people to find like just giant sprawling mushroom gardens, because that's what grows in grottos and that's what can grow without much light, so you can grow that in the sewer system. And apparently music is also fairly big inside Nosferatu hidey holes, mostly because things like sewers have great acoustics. They travel for miles, so there's quite a lot of creativity happening in the Nosferatu sphere. It's just very secretive and entirely separated from the rest of the vampire community, because the rest of the vampire community honestly want nothing to do with them. They don't want Nosferatu to be walking around because Nosferatu be ugly, yo. And of course, we're gonna judge on appearance. We're vampires, so we're vain. Anyways, that was my clan overview for Nosferatu. I hope that it helped you understand what they are and kind of get an idea about how to play one. If you have an idea of how you would like to play a Nosferatu or want to express your opinions on Nosferatu or talk about Nosferatu in general, feel free to do so in the comments section down below. Thank you for watching. I hope I'm gonna see you in my other videos. Normally I do videos about video games and sometimes occult stuff. So if you are gonna subscribe, just like check out the rest of my content, figure out if you vibe with it or not, because I don't really wanna be the reason why your subscription box is spammed by shit that you don't like or are not interested in. That's not a good time for anybody, so I'd rather you made sure that you like what I put out. And if you do, I would love for you to be my subscriber. And thank you so much for my Patreons for allowing me to make videos like these. I really enjoy them. So I hope I'm gonna see you next time. Bye, B.